and deliver these beats you might have thought up in soundcheck 3 years ago. What about that one? I mean, how do you do that?
It's like...
and how do you remember them? Did they get named?
No, well, sometimes I record
sometimes
a bit
they
of
get actions.
Sometimes, like I'll know what somebody... if Al suggests one, if he wants to bring one up from the... It's like them things with evidence where police go down and ask for evidence from, like, cold case.
The Wire.
The Wire. It's like a cold case. Says, I'll go and look on shelf. And but yeah, sometimes it'll be more of a... Remember that one?
Sometimes them shelves get a bit messy and you can't tell what things aren't where they should be.
Yeah.
But then sometimes stuff's born out of that, isn't it? Yeah.
But
it'll be like... Because I can't... So I'll just remember like how they look when he's doing...
The arms.
And so I'll sort of be like the one where you do...
Oh, yeah. And sometimes that'll be enough. But at the moment, if you ask me to... I mean, there's probably not that many in the bank at the moment, actually. Just sometimes come along when...
Because towards like the end of these recordings, there was a few songs like Fire and the Thud where we'd like that was we kind of elected to just sort of stick the groove a little bit on that, and that's like something that happened on some of these. It was more like we'd reversed it and we're making the drums fit sometimes to like songs that were kind of more fully written before, so I suppose it was like a slightly different way of working for us, but still good, and I think that's sort of certainly I suppose a virtue in a drummer is being able to kind of lean back on it sometimes and just stick it.
Yeah,
stick it to
no, it's ideal. I mean, it kind of reminds me of, say like James Brown would be able to ask his drummers to come up with certain kinds of beat, and they had their own musical language that they knew, associated with place or something. So he'd say, right, I want a New Orleans something or other, and suddenly they'd slip into that, and then he'd, I
mean, there are ones I can remember where I were when I made certain beats up, so it works. If you were to say Blackpool Empress Ballroom beat now, that would be Brian Storm.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like, and that's ongoing, that library, isn't it? I mean,
it's
things are getting...
There's reissues,
and it's cool. I also think when you have those like moments, probably like that, the tune you just played, which was Fire and the Thud, right, is like, I suppose that's just sort of sticking like the kind of Susie Q, like...
Yeah, that Chuglin thing.
And then because then when you get like the next tune or Pretty Visitors after that, it's like there's some.
Well, even the end of that goes a bit.
Yeah,
Army, but then
and when you get like Barmy Army moments.
But then you get and then it's like, oh wow,
they slap you in your nose bridge.
Yeah, but I guess for the next one you're more controlled with Cornerstone.
Oh, that's the next tune, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, you still gotta.
But even that,
you've got to keep this control interesting. Still, it's still quite an original thing, I think. If I do say so. That
was like because I remember that being quite like difficult.
Just because that were kind of made up there and then. And it's a bit of a coordination.
It's a bit like rubbing your tummy and patting your head down.
It is, all four limbs are there. I think at one point.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's one of my favourite bits, actually. Like when the ride comes in to that beat, I'm getting a bit tacky now.
This is on Cornerstone.
Yeah. But it's just like that's what I'm saying. Like I almost often think of like the drums like visually, and like that was like a cool when he was recording that. It's just like, and then this like the ride comes in.
It feels good. It's a good motion.
Yeah.
If you could see the actions now, we need the webcam on. It's important. And so I guess is Cornerstone the ballad of the album?
I guess it is. I suppose that's got both. I guess that's up to its knees in ballad more than the other one.
Up to its knees. And what's it about, do you think?
Again, that was one of the later ones I wrote, and I suppose it's about a search, obviously. And I think there's I wanted to do a song that was major key and get away with it, really. I think we really needed like a tune on there that wasn't quite, wasn't like as perhaps didn't have like the darkness that some of the other ones have got. And and so I saw it as a bit of a challenge to try and write like a tune in a major key and make it, like 3.5 minutes, kind of like approaching a pop song really, I suppose, and just have like a narration that's really understandable, whereas like other things on there, aren't as obvious. I think it was important for me to like have like one on there or two, maybe, that it's you kind of right there with it. Like, there's this when we were on tour with the Coral a couple of years ago, those lads played as this guy, and they were like, "Oh, I think you'll really be into this fella Jake Thackeray, who has a very funny, very humorous lyrical style." Like,
is it "Where do you go to, my lovely, when you're alone"? Is that
him? Have we spoken about him before?
I don't know. I don't know.
He does that tune called La Di Da, and there's this other one called The Blacksmith and the Toffee Maker, and they're like the stories, and often like the verses begin the same, and there's like jokes in there, and there's like some live stuff where he'll be sort of stopping for a laugh and then start carrying on. There's like some of that, but it's really like great, and so maybe there's a bit of that in my head, like writing this. Not that it's kind of not as humorous as his work, but perhaps that was what I was trying to aspire to, or something, was like, because it's a real craft and like interesting rhyme, and like the things he references sort of are a bit pokey sometimes, like they a bit cumbersome, but I think
interesting. And this is it. This is Arctic Monkeys with Cornerstone on Exposure XFM. It's Arctic Monkeys, Cornerstone on Exposure XFM from the brand new album Humbug, getting the Exposure album playback treatment. Matt and Alex are here talking us through it track by track. Dance Little Liar is the next song, and this was the first of the demos that Josh Homme heard that you recorded in Norfolk. I'm just repeating what I read somewhere.
That's
but it sounds authoritative, I hope. And this was what allegedly he heard 30 seconds, said, right, I'm going to work with this band. They sound great. I love this song.
Yeah, there was like because there's this sound on the start of that. We've already got a bit techie before, so we may as well carry on in that. But there's like this sound that we created for the beginning of that, and I think he heard that and was sort of like, he said it was like a bit Morricone, like, but I don't know whether I agreed with him on that. But he was sort of like, have you been listening to Morricone? And like, I had a little bit. We all had. So I was like, oh, yeah, interesting, but I can't see how you've added that up, really. But all right. And then he was like, like he said, Johnny said he heard that, the sort of intro to that, and was sort of like up for working with us, and said that was the place to do it. Like, that tune should be recorded out there in Rancho, and,
I guess that kind of makes sense if he heard this Morricone desert sound.
Exactly. Yeah, it was nice. That's right. That's what he said. Off we went. Yeah.
Excellent. He does great English accents, Josh Homme, doesn't he? I seem to remember when he's been in and done a couple of these album playback things, and he slips into various different English accents really well.
He's good voice.
He kind of got close to ours, I think.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he'd always go, Jamie. He'd always go, mate.
Mate.
Yeah, I think we like did his head in a bit though, like talking sometimes with like. I remember we were like, Mad Cake. Like, dude, what's with all the yelling?
And what's Dance Little Liar? Is this, I guess you're talking about going Barmy Army. I mean, this goes Barmy Army, doesn't it?
At the end, it's quite, there's a bit, because throughout it's quite, he just thuds along.
Yeah, driving, and it's quite driving, like, just...
Quite good, like, not much of a challenge, but yeah, I'm interested. But then at the end, there's obviously when it stops for the guitar thing, and then I emulate that, and